so loved. I love Raul. I'm only here because he asked. I'm only here because you asked, Raul. And Camilo, oh my gosh, it's so lovely to see you. Yeah, so the last time I spoke in public about anything really of this like magnitude, I was in church. Corazon, you were there. And it was like a big deal. I take like using my voice, it's a big deal. I'm a survivor, and you know, if you know anything about survivors, our voices are important. They're attacked, and yeah. So I opened that talk where I was talking about the African burial ground that's in Flatbush, on the corner of Bedford and Church, and I opened with, because we were in church, so I was like, let me give some scripture, and I quoted Jesus quoting the prophet Isaiah when he said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised." My notes are real messy, so please bear with me. But I'm essentially want to talk about the God of the abolitionists, the God of the civil rights leaders, the God of the women's suffragists. I think when we talk about these movements and these people, I don't think we dive into that. Like, who did they serve? You know, who did they pray to? And it's my strong belief as a born-again Christian as of 2020, pandemic did a number on us. And so it's my strong belief that the God who they prayed to, the God that they served, that they, you know, lived their lives, they put their lives on the line to do the work that they did, that God hears, that God is listening. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And I really I love Brooklyn. I was born here. Didn't grow up here. I grew up in the South in North Carolina. But it's my belief that this is one of the original sanctuary cities. You know, downtown Brooklyn was this hotbed of abolitionist activity. You know, we had Weeksville. There's just this movement that was rooted in righteousness. Yeah, it's to me, it's like the kingdom of heaven coming down to earth. And I think we still have access to that. And so, you know, Martin Luther King has this quote that I always say when I talk to people about my faith, that 11 o'clock on Sundays is the most segregated hour in America, which is still true today. It's so sad. We gotta do better. If your church looks like everyone looks the same, you're in the wrong church. Abolitionists were controversial, and they said things, you know, they spoke the truth, and, you know, the Bible is like a two-edged sword. And so words, you know, are important. So, yeah, like I said, my notes are jumbled. I apologize, y'all. But yeah. Yeah, I think I've said almost all that. So I wanted to read some quotes. I have this book that I hadn't really opened until now, so I'm really grateful for this opportunity. But Angelina Grimke and her sister Sarah Grimke, they were two white women who were born to slaveholding families in the South. They moved to the North and they became Quakers and abolitionists. Angelina in 1836, she wrote, "Some have even said that Jesus Christ did not condemn slavery. To this I reply that our holy Redeemer condemned slavery." Wait, no. "Lived and preached among the Jews only, that he saw nothing of perpetual servitude, and certain from the simple declaration made by himself in John 8:35, which says, 'The servant abideth not in the house forever, the Son abideth forever.'" She's talking about Jesus. Yeah, and going through all of these quotes and trying to find where does people talk about God, where do people talk about Jesus. This is the only one or example where I found they quoted scripture, which I really love. Garrett Smith, in 1842, he wrote and called upon slaves to escape. and for abolitionists to help them. He says, the doctrine abstains almost universally, that the friends of the slave have no right to communicate with him, no right to counsel and comfort him. We have ourselves partially, at least, acquiesced in this time-hallowed delusion, and now that God has opened our eyes to our great and guilty error, we feel impelled to make public confession of it, to indicate publicly our duty to be our advisors, comforters, and helpers, and to enter upon the discharge of that duty without delay. Keyword, without delay. When Jesus taught us to pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's like, there's no thing that says, well, tomorrow or next week or when you feel like it.
Today.
It means today, it means now. And so, there were some abolitionists who, I'm not super knowledgeable, thank you. But there's not, some of them were immediate. Some of them, wanted to take a slower approach. Henry Highland Garnet took it up a notch. He was militant, and said, in every man's mind, the good seeds of liberty are planted, and he who brings his fellow down so low as to make him contend with the condition of slavery commits the highest crime against God and man. And I'll end with a quote from Frederick Douglass that says, the man who is right is a majority. We who have God and conscience on our side have a majority against the universe. And so I want to close just saying, I'm a part of the group with Friends of Abolitionist Place, and it's been a really long road. I've only been with the group since 2019, and things look really dire. If you go by the house, it's crumbling. They're doing their best to shore it up, but the city has really done us a disservice. But God. We serve a God who is infinite. He is the God of miracles. He can turn things around like that. So despite what it looks like, despite what you've heard or whatever, the God who these people prayed to, the God who I pray to, hears us, and we are, going to be uplifted.
Wait, I feel like an announcement at a football game, and there comes a point as a man is running across the finish line, the announcer says, and the crowd broke out in pandemonium. Did you get the pandemonium?